my sound preferences are. I like bass. And if it can have quantity and quality, yeah, I'm rocking it. Especially mid bass. I like the slam over the sub bass rumble. I like my mids super clean. Not a big fan of overly colored, overly thick, overly warm mids. Not a big fan of that. And highs that are very sweet and seem to be able to keep up without ever being overbearing or in your face. So. Hey, this is going to be a shorter one. Today is going to be on another Ziigaat Arete. Now, I had just come off not long ago doing another collaboration. There seems to be a pile of collaborations from Ziigaat, the Estrella. I did with Jay's Audio, and this one is fresh reviews into the Arete. This one's $249. The Estrella was $299, so a little bit more money. Very similar in the fact that this one's got a 1+4, where the Estrella had a 2+4. So 5 drivers, 6 drivers for an extra $50. This was reading the literature. Was more developed in combination and for gamers as well. So the Arete comes with one 10mm biocellulose driver. It has the 4 Knowles BAs, 29689s for the mids, and 31736 for the treble. The reason I mention model numbers of drivers is because I make a mental note of the drivers. If I happen to like a Sonyan, for instance, 2600 for the mid-range, I gear myself. I look for that kind of, I am hoping that same tonality that I like in that I am translates to maybe another one that there's no information on. So that's the reason I mention model numbers of drivers, for you and me to keep a mental note. So in the lit for the Arete, it says it's more of a balanced monitor tuning with a 9 dB bass shelf with the 300 hertz cutoff. And I will say that is very much true with this dynamic driver in here. Overall sound profile, these are my notes that I wrote. They're balanced. It has deep elastic bass, sub-focused again, clean mids, natural sounding with excellent tonality and clarity. The tonality of the instruments, great. The timbre, again, spot on. It has clean and detailed top end, not the most extended, and missing some of the details when you get to the strings. That's one of the things I noticed. Had just a bit of a lack of sparkle. And then when it came to some bassy tracks, I also found the mids tend to sound a bit recessed because then there was that sub bass energy that kind of overpowers your brain to what you're hearing in the rest of the frequency response across as we go down or we climb to the higher frequencies. So I thought this one had a very safe tuning, but overall it could have used a little bit more air and extension. Which is funny because if you wanted that, then you would have went to the Estrella. And that's the thing. So if I pull up a graph, though, and I got a lot of heat over my Estrella review, and here's the graph of the two. And as you can see that they are virtually the same up to about I'm still going to go beyond that, say 4K. And then they both have that 5K rise. I'm going to talk about that too. The tuning for these two sets that I have are virtually the same up to 4K. And I got a lot of heat for the Estrella review saying, well, you got a unit variant. That's not the intended plus 15 dB bass target. It should have more bass. Okay. I believe you, but these sets are not early production units. These are sale units. So you could get a set like this. I could get a set like this. And if there's unit variances, that's not on me. That's on you, Ziigaat. 100%. So when I get something in for evaluation, I evaluate from what I have in front of me and in my ears. That's what I get. And that's a fair comparison in my review. I don't care if there is unit variances. That's a quality control issue on their end. So, and it does. If the Estrella had 5 dB more bass, then you would, in fact, get a different sounding IM from the one that I received. Absolutely. The top end, where I thought was just too much energy, would probably be compensated with the extra oomph in the lower end. That's just the way our brains and our ears work. But these two, as you can see, my measurements done exactly on the same rig, same ear tips, the whole shebango. This is the way they come out. The Estrella just has more energy up top, and where the Arete has that 6 to 7K sibilance dip for me, and I can hear that. That 5K peak where the pinna rises and it peaks out at 5K, if you're sensitive to that, for me, what happens is I get, and I wasn't sure whether on the Estrella, whether it was that was causing the ear ringing that I get, or was it something beyond that in the extension. But I get the same thing with the Arete too, not nearly as much. And that really happens when I start dialing up the volume control. So that 6 to 7K dip, the sibilance dip, really does make a big difference for me. It made this set much more enjoyable than the Estrella. If you're treble sensitive and you don't like too much treble, there's two great sets here. Right? One that has more extra energy up top. Though it wasn't for me, I can totally see the appeal in what it does more. And we'll talk about that, how it came down to some track impressions as well between the two. So I want to talk about something else. Now, these two collaborations. Okay. There is on the box that says fresh reviews, Ziigaat X fresh reviews, same as the J's Estrella. It just had XJ. That's it written on there. On the cases, which I'm totally not a fan of, they're really hard to open. I'm not a fan of these cases. It just says Ziigaat. There's no branding on it. And the same as the IMs. I mean, it has Ziigaat and Ziigaat. I mean, if this is a collaboration, I think there should have been a whole lot more effort to brand the collaboration, in my opinion. Though, as you know, I am anti-collaboration. I think it's terrible for the hobby. So then there's this absolute pile of shit cable that comes with it. It's when I was doing my evaluation with both of these, using these cables, oh my God, I spent more time untangling it from me putting one in to the other one and then lifting it up again and trying to untangle the stupid cable. If you buy the set, chuck the cable immediately. Also, at these prices, at $249 and $299 for these IMs, it's a crying shame. This is not competitive with this quality of cable, this case, the ear tips that come with it, the whole packaging for this price. You're getting beat out left, right, and center for $70 IMs that are coming with way nicer modular cables, nicer cases, better packaging. So I think you got to do better, Ziigaat, to up your game big time. So back on track after that little bit of a rant with that. Some tracks. Shape of My Heart from Sting. I'm trying to listen to some nice male vocals, and the Arete does do this. I do like the sound of this IM. It really does have nice vocals, the guitar tonality, and its smooth replay. Honestly, 2 thumbs up. And then when I threw in the Estrella to do a comparison, I gotta give the Estrella some credit here. I know I was pretty hard on it, but at lower volumes, for me, it does take the vocals up a notch. In its more natural timbre, the vocals did sound a bit more natural. Instruments do have better clarity and resolution. The Estrella pulls that off nicely. It actually also, in the bass department, does pull down lower with the 2 dynamic drivers versus the single, but not terribly different. But the big difference between the two, especially in the top end, is where I wasn't a big fan of the Estrella's top end. It has on the trailing edges of notes, it just has too much information that it makes it sound a bit unnatural in the treble. You get a cymbal crash like, and then the harmonics goes, right? There's a bit too much extra added in at the end that makes those notes not sound natural. The Arete is more balanced and feels much better behaved, and most noticeably on when you put this on resolving sources and higher volumes. So again, on low volumes, it's pretty awesome set. I do enjoy it quite a bit for that. I did also a P7, a full P7 comparison as well, just briefly between the two. And my notes were, bass goes just as deep as the Estrella did, so which was still more than the Arete, but has more real world impact and texture. The P7 has the better clarity in the mids for vocals and instrumental. Guitars, pianos, the timbre sounded correct with more note weight going on. So that was my quick take of in comparison to these three, really. I think overall the Arete is a very likable IM. I would again prefer that less sub bass and more texture to the bass and attack in the bottom end. And again, it could be partly my bias towards. I know I do like biocellulose drivers as well, but I do like the speedier, faster of some other types of carbon nanotube textured bass or a beryllium driver. I like the speed that they bring forth more than the kind of deeper, organic kind of bass sounding of the biocellulose drivers. I think this is probably a great IM for its intent in the gaming purposes, and overall as a pretty good all-rounder for music. Something to talk about if you're treble sensitive is that 5K area. You would pick up the Arete over the Estrella, and you should be able to turn it up for longer and louder, like I was allowed to. So it made this one a more enjoyable IM than the Estrella for me. Though again, not a big fan of that 5K peak, just because I seem to be quite sensitive to that on certain IMs, and these two are one of them. So thanks again. Out for now.